Hello YouTube, welcome to another one of Eric's projects. Today we're going to be working on the RZR again. It is time for some S-spension on this. So I finally decided to do the S conversion on this, and I'm going to show you how to do it on a budget. You don't have to spend $1,000, $1,500 on parts. This is all parts for stock parts from other machines and used parts. So let's get this thing going. 570 turned into an S. We're going to make this thing wide on portals too. All right, how I'm going to do this is ordered up some parts here. I've got some rear shocks for a Ranger 900 XP. Those are going to go directly on the back, being the rear arms on this thing for the S are a Ranger 900 XP factory arms. So I ordered those up. Got some high clearance ones to put on there from Super ATV. Got some eBay 60 Ranger 900 XP rear axles, two of those just stock, and a couple of RZR 800S front axles. So that's all the axles we're going to need, and only going to need two shocks because on the S conversion the factory rear shocks move to the front, and that's the length of the S shocks. So we're going to move the rears to the front, put the Ranger ones on the rear with the Ranger axles and the high clearance arms. And then on the front here, got yet another set of Super ATV high clearance forward A-arms. These ones are actually in red because the red ones were on sale for $130 less than the black ones, and the main color I'm concerned about is green, and that's the green in my pocket. So you know what? I'm going to have red arms in this machine, and it's a red machine anyway. So let's go ahead and get this started. We're going to start on the front end, get jacked up, pull the wheels and tires off of this thing, get the portals taken off, undo the shocks, pull the A-arms off, pop the axles out, and just start reassembling with all the new parts. Let's go. This is the incorrect way to lift this, but don't try this at home, kids. Tell you what, if you don't have one of these little battery operated impact wrenches, I would highly suggest getting one. This is the 20 volt half-inch Earthquake XT from Harbor Freight. This thing is amazing for, you know, as little of a cost as it was. I don't know how I've gone so long without it, but pick yourself up one of these. It's worth its weight in gold. All right, tires are off, spacers are off. Gonna set this down on jack stands and get to taking the portals off. Okay, to get this portal off, I'm going to go ahead and pull the brake caliper off, pull the tie rod end off here. This is those Toyota RAV4 tie rod ends I put on. Got to pop this big nut off of here, and this is the big one, 300 foot-pounds of torque on this. And I'm going to have to pull this rotor assembly off just to get to this dust cap, because underneath this dust cap is the nut for the axle shaft. Once that nut for the axle shaft is off, should be able to undo the upper and lower ball joints. The axle shaft will be done, the brake will be undone, the steering will be undone, and slide this whole portal bracket off without actually taking it off of this bracket. Go ahead and undo the shock to drop the arms down, and that'll be off. And once that's off, should be able to pop the axle shaft out and go ahead and pull these arms off and put the longer ones on. I like to try to put my bolts back in where they came from, or else I'll end up kicking them across the floor and losing them. Now the other thing I'm going to have to do also is brake lines on this, being I'm already running an S-length brake line to make up for the 4-inch depth of the portals. I'm going to be moving my passenger side lines to the driver's side with this S, and that way, because this is a longer line. And I went and bought from Super ATV, I bought a brake line, right front brake line, from the 800S portal kit. So they were able to separate out that brake line. When I get it here, I'll let you know how long it is so you can order one up for yourself or just have one made. For the rear, I'm going to be moving that passenger side to the driver's side also. And what I'm going to do for the passenger rear, just to save money, is I have another set of brake lines. And so the brake line from the master cylinder back to the junction block for the rear has the threaded fitting on one end and a banjo fitting on the other end. So I'm going to take that and just flip it and thread it into the outlet of that junction block and put the banjo fitting on the right rear caliper. I'll let you know how that works and see if I might have to order up another one if that doesn't work, but I think it will. So the nuts off, calipers off. I'm going to go ahead and pull this rotor off, pull the tie rod end off, and then get this dust cap off. Left taps on that, and that's off. Now get this dust cap off. All right, one box off. Well, that ball joint's definitely seen better days. So, all right, let's see if this axle's gonna pop out of there. I've seen a lot of things on the internet about that not happening. All right. Oh man, I forgot. Well, I'm gonna have to pull this front fascia off to get this bolt out. Because it's 12 inches long. So I'll pull this front fascia off and slide that bolt out, and this arm's ready to come off, and the new lower one's ready to go on. Whip this shock off the front here, off the top, and this arm's ready to come off too. We'll have to pull the front fascia to get both of those off, as well as the other side. So this is going pretty quick. Get that thing off. Man. All right, there we are, easy as that. Upper A arm off, as well as the lower. Now, it's time for the S arms. All right, you'll need to swap your bushings from the original ones or whatever you got on there to your new ones. Go ahead and start with the upper. Yuck. Perfect. Swapped over, and time for this to go back in place. As you can see, quite the difference between the two. Same thing, you're going to want to swap your bushings over from your other one. Oh, but before that, better put some ball joints in it. All right, I went with got a new ball joint in this lower one here. I went with the American Star heavy duty ball joints off of Amazon, eBay, whatever, and figured I'd try those out. Can't be any worse than the stock Polaris ones, and they've held up for quite a while. So let's get this installed. All right. wrong side. All right, probably should have done the bottom one first for simplicity, but oh well, is what it is. All right, like I said, these are just some inexpensive 800S axles off of Amazon or eBay. So I think I paid $105 for 2 of them. But you know, we'll see how they work. Running the portals, that takes up a lot of the load from the bigger tires and things, so the gear reduction. And I've had really good luck with the stock axle so far. The one on the left is the stock 2016 axle that I've never broke. And I've only torn one boot on one axle, really. So I've had really good luck out of just the stock axle, so we'll see how this works. Let's get it installed. Hopefully this will go in just as easy as the other one came out. Look at that, right in. Sweet. I'm gonna go ahead and put this shock bolt in just to hold this arm up out of the way. I do need to swap shocks still. The factory rear shocks will be the ones going on the front. This will make it quite the lowrider. Look at that angle there and how flat it is. Hey, maybe we'll see what it looks like just for fun. Right, now, go ahead and put the portal box back on. All right, throw a little of this on there. Prevent it from getting stuck in any time in the future. Ooh. These things are heavy. Whew. All right. Cool. Now, I'll have to set my camber still, but I just need to get things on for that. So I'll go ahead and snug these ball joints up. Axle nut back on there with a 30mm socket. Now put a little anti-seize on that. Well, put this on here next. Dust cover. Alright, put a little anti-seize on that brake rotor so it's easier to come off next time. And the brake caliper that doesn't fit yet, but that's all right. Well, that's it for swapping S-arms on. If you're just doing an S conversion, that's as simple as those arms are, and then you'll have to adjust your steering tie rod, which we'll do next, and also extend that brake line and do the S shocks or put your factory rear shocks on the front. So now I'm going to go ahead and extend that tie rod. Just for reference, this is the stock 570 front shock. I have the Super ATV heavy springs on there on full preload. And notice how the arm is straight. And this is the stock rear 570 shock with the high lifter heavy duty spring on there and the angle that's down on that. So the rear shocks are the ones you want to use for the front of your S. And you can see the difference there of how much of a difference it really is. So I'm going to go ahead and swap the shock on the other side too. All right, there it is, fully on the ground, suspension settled. Still got quite a bit of space here. Got just under 16 inches clearance. And without the tie rods hooked up. And at just under 72 inches wide. Woo! That's a big one.